Hello and welcome to the last video I'm going to put out for Spyro the Dragon 1 challenge runs before my final video comparing all of the scores, which should be the next video. So in this video, it's called No Gliding, No Problem. In this run, I'm actually not going to show the whole no gliding challenge. If you want to see that, you should go and check out RJ Waters 2. His channel. He has the no gliding challenge run all the way through, but this video is just going to highlight some of the things that I got that he couldn't get or neglected to get, or at least didn't think was possible to get. Then all four of my challenge runs, that's no charging, no flaming, no gliding, and no killing, all of those challenge runs will be featured in the final episode of my series, which will compare scores and see which one is ultimately more valuable to Spyro. So we did some pretty crazy things in the other challenge runs that I've made, and this one is no different. It's got some great stuff that you can actually get done on this game, so all credit to RJ for coming up with the concept, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
The reason we can't unlock that box is, unlike some of the stumps out to my right, way over there, not all of these are just scenery. This one right there is a very tall stump. All of the roots around the stump are not flat. They are very pointed, so you can't stand on them, so you can't jump up to there and get the key with it, taking a bit of damage just getting out to the stump. What you're supposed to do is glide from where those gems are at the top of the screen. You understand why that's a bit of a challenge for me. So anything inside that lockbox we're lost out completely on. Doesn't mean we can't get up here and get the gems. Up here is an actual great spot.
So what I'm going to introduce you guys to here is what's called Spyro Zombie Mode, whereby panning the camera and doing a barrel roll to the right through Wildflight's portal in the Beastmaker's homeworld will just spawn Spyro back at the nearest checkpoint, where he is actually invincible. Sparks cannot take damage in this form, which means we can actually walk on the green swamps that usually cause us damage in the homeworld. Now, this is actually not necessary to achieve the trick we're about to do, but it gives us a lot more free time to achieve it. Because if you're very lucky, you can get this without zombie mode, but this just makes it much easier. Excuse the gliding, I know this is the glideless challenge, but it's not got to the part where I'm going to show you to get more gems than what RJ got. In the clip you just saw, RJ missed out on some gems over on one of the tree stumps that also has the key to a lockbox, which is the secret to getting all the gems in the Beastmaker's homeworld. So this stump here, what we're going to do is we're going to use a technique of landing on the branch a certain way, which will actually proxy us upwards onto the surface. So you look at the back branch in particular, and if you just hold A, and I don't mean gliding here, it's like you're holding jump while you're on there, you will bounce up and be able to get the key and the gems like so. You can of course then use the key to go and get the chest in the Beastmaker's homeworld, which I'm going to go and get now, and open the chest. This trick is actually used by speedrunners to get up the fountains quickly in Stone Hill. You can get to the latter part of the level with the egg thief using this method. Spyro, when he's rolling downwards, if you hold A, he kind of bounces upwards instead, allowing us to charge up onto the stump. So that's trick number one. Let's see what's in store for us in Terrace Village next, and just there, 300 out of 300 gems in the homeworld using this method.
Now, I know I made that look incredibly easy, but trust me, I'm a professional, and I make these jumps in the first try to give the viewer a sense of accomplishment, so that maybe he thinks he could play Spyro and talk over it at the same time successfully. Trust me, you can't. I mean, there's no way you could make that jump. Assuredly not. You also could not notice this slight secret camouflaged stairs in the wall here. At this point, we would have already gotten the gems from down there, and to reach the rooftops on the other side of this building here from the earlier in the level, we would just glide over here and around and land on there. But of course, because this is a glideless challenge, that cannot be accomplished.
We're actually going to utilize a trick from the no flame versus no charge challenge to achieve this next trick. So what you've just seen there is that the trooper enemy that does electric attacks, very similar to Blowhard and the Storm Wizards. We saw with the fight with Blowhard where I couldn't actually flame, we could reach the rest of the level by bonking into a wall and then being electrocuted, and it proxies you upwards, allowing us to actually damage boost to the top of this rooftop. Then all I did was hold square, and as long as I touch a surface on my way down, he exits the animation and lands on to the rooftop. One thing to note, the gems count on this level is correct because I made it that way, but the objects are not correct necessarily. It's just to show you what gems RJ missed. And so every gem I pick up is a gem that RJ didn't get that adds the total count. We do an RJ patented bounce jump to get over to this rooftop, and that's actually a bit more difficult than it looks. But, you know, there's more difficult jumps in RJ's no glide challenge. I suggest you check it out if you want to see some of the amazing jumps he accomplished. We collect the gems from this strong box and we die in the process. One more bounce jump to get us up to the slightly higher rooftop, which was more difficult than the first jump, believe it or not, and you can actually get 100%, 400 out of 400 on Terrace Village.
Nothing like a supercharged ramp coming out of the tower. Let's see what this whirlwind takes us to before we deal with anything on the ground floor. Just a couple of gems. We can see a floating box with a fairy in it. I'm not sure if the wood itself is the magical property keeping that thing afloat, or if the fairy is just holding it up while she flies. If she's strong enough to hold 1/3 of Spyro, as canonized in the High Caves, I'm sure she could lift up that plywood box. And a balloon Nork guarding her 2/3 of the time, 1/3 of the time. So, understandably, what we need to do here is bounce off of the balloon and charge through the fairy box. And I'm sure you can see where this is going. If we could glide, we could go in a spiral around the pillar in the middle of the thing, flaming open all of the balloons and all of the fairies. I can flame open one fairy and charge open the other, but that's not enough to make a whirlwind or 2/3 of a whirlwind. That's not how it works. I can look up slightly and flame, but it's not good enough of an angle, or the draw distance just isn't that good on my flame to actually reach this box. And Spyro's head does not stay upwards if I jump afterwards, so jumping actually makes it worse.
Lofty Castle, RJ had to give up quite quickly on because he needed whirlwinds to get to certain locations, including the supercharge ramp. We're going to use the damage proxy again to get hit by an arrow while bonking onto a wall, and it will proxy us upwards. We can then get to this area that you're supposed to supercharge over to. You can also glide here as well, but of course the no glide challenge excludes that from the agenda. So that's one way to get up here to get a bunch of extra gems, but that's not the only way. We're also going to use a charge jump there, and if you hold square while holding A at the same time, you do these really short hop jumps that actually build up enough momentum to jump up onto this barrier here. And I'm going to glide to the left here, but it's a mistake. I'm going to turn around and show you where I'm supposed to be going by doing a bounce jump over to this ledge. There I can get to the balcony area that RJ missed by doing a downwards bounce jump on the ledge to get enough momentum to get up here. RJ also missed a Ngork that he previously thought you need to glide using a whirlwind to get to, but using a technique that's actually possible on all 3 original games, you're actually able to just flame and charge jump, and the flame will follow you upwards, allowing us to break that Ngork's balloon. The last trick I'm going to show you on this level actually makes all of the other tricks on this level obsolete. We established on the no flaming challenge that if you can get supercharge, you can actually get 100% on this level. You can watch that episode again to check that. You can get all gems. I'm not going to show you that part, but I'm going to show you how to get the supercharge without gliding. You jump down here and land on this ledge, which is actually pretty damn difficult to do, and you keep moving so you don't slip off. You then jump and bounce to hit the last fairy box, which will create the whirlwind. You can then immediately charge at the top of the whirlwind and you're at the supercharged ramp, allowing you to get absolutely everything in Lofty Castle, 100% level.
Wit and strength and bravery, here we go again. Very nice. I dread the time when I actually mess up a jump more than 3 times. Our reward was 2 blue gems and a stack of 3 red gems that seem to be going around this wall here. If we could actually glide, we could jump and glide around this wall. That's what Boris was actually talking about, but because we can't, let's go back around. I can show you what we're missing out on. Just a hot second, so keep that in mind. In the meantime, birds and bird wranglers. We just collected a purple gem, which is worth 25. It's the most expensive gem in the game, and they're very rare because of that. What we're missing out on is 3 red gems, a dragon, and a key to that lockbox that we also can't get. So I'm not going to sweat too much about not being able to get over there.
To get the remaining dragon and a bunch of gems on Dry Canyon, we need to use the damage proxy boost, and I do it twice here because on the first attempt I accidentally glide. You run fast enough so that you don't get hit by the bird too soon, but slow enough that he follows you out of his usual range. And if you charge and bonk the wall at the right time, it will damage boost you up and on. From here on the wall, it's a straight jump up onto this archway, and we can see the dragon and the key and the 4 gems that RJ missed over there. We drop onto this second wall and we can actually jump over to the third wall, which does require a charge jump. A single jump doesn't actually make the cut, you fall just short. Then you can do a simple charge and jump, and luckily for us that jump is not too difficult. The rim circles around just far enough so that we can land on it without even needing to attempt a bounce jump on such a thin wall, but a bounce jump would be possible and it would allow us to get here a bit more easy due to the height increase. But yeah, we get the extra gems and we get the extra dragon and we get a key that we still can't use on the lockbox because that is actually too far away to glide to.
Or speed. This is strictly a jumping challenge. Now, yeah. But, come on, really?
In RJ's initial run of the No Glide challenge that you've just seen, the clip in Haunted Towers shows that he goes to a whirlwind and tries to charge as soon as he gains control of Spyro, and he can't make the jump. If you actually let him glide just a few more frames, he can actually make the jump by charging, and he doesn't need a clean glide like that. But of course that's still breaking RJ's own rule of charging as soon as you exit the whirlwind. So in the actual video he goes through Haunted Towers and shows you the rest of the level because it's one of his favourite levels, if not his favourite level, so he actually goes through it. But then in the last episode, he retroactively reduces his score from that point onwards. So the dragons, I should say, the 2 dragons and the gems he collects after going up that whirlwind are actually not included in his final score. It was mainly just to show you what he thought was one of his favourite levels. But I'm about to show you a method that I got to work, and I think this is pretty much the best way you're going to achieve this. You need to use this wizard here, and you're going to use a damage proxy boost similar to what we've seen in the blowhard from the No Flaming challenge, and you're going to jump and bonk the wall and hold A or X if you're on the PlayStation. By doing that, if you make contact with this wizard, you actually get proxied upwards. We've seen it in the other challenges as well. So if you can get proxied upwards high enough, just directly upwards, you can then do a charge jump out of that proxy as soon as possible to make the jump, as you'll see here. There we go. So we've also seen from the Let's Play that if you can make it up this step, you can actually achieve everything that you need to achieve in Haunted Towers, because you can access all parts of the level. And so that means you get 3 out of 3 dragons, and you get 500 out of 500 gems, and another completed level.
Enigmatic boss hints aside, an entire video series of reading names backwards came to fruition. There was one named Oliver backwards. I'm not sure if it was a reference to anything or a complete accident, but Oliver. Sorry to steal your thunder there, but this is Jacques. Jacques in the box. I know. He cannot actually be harmed. If you'll notice, he just runs away from us and sometimes throws party boxes at us, which can be charged and are at that point no longer harmful. If we flame him, he will run away, not actually take damage or drop gems, unlike every other boss so far. But while I'm over here, I am safe to explain that he operates much like a fool, in that when he is damaged, quote unquote, hit by one of my attacks, something good will happen, like this platform being raised. But you can see that that's a whirlwind, and that's a large distance being covered by lava, and we can't actually finish the boss, which is a shame, because the world exit portal is right up there on the other end of another whirlwind, which would require gliding. But it's a shame because Jacques drops 4 purple gems, and surrounding the home world return home portal is 3 more purple gems, and that is 175 gems I have to miss just because I have principles.
What if I was to tell you, RJ, you wouldn't need to forego your principles to actually obtain 100 out of 175 of the gems that you're missing on Jacques? Would you call me crazy? Well, let me explain this trick to you. I don't know why this works, but it just does. I've seen it on some speedruns, that by charging through Jacques' party box at the right angle and flaming him fast enough, we'll just instantly kill him. This allows us to get 100 of the gems that Jacques drops, and it actually does activate some of the areas later in the level, but that doesn't help us obviously, because there's a whirlwind that requires gliding to get the last 75 gems, but we can still get 100 extra gems that RJ thought were not possible using this method. After collecting those 100 gems, Spyro now clearly has more of a spring in his step. Now, I'm pretty damn certain that this is absolutely everything that I can get that RJ didn't get. If you happen to find something else that I've missed that you can somehow get without gliding, please feel free to share with me, because I'm all out of ideas of any other possibilities.